Well, ladies and gentlemen, there is huge injury news in Leaf Land. The big superstar, the guy who's supposed to save everyone, is now injured on the shelf. Was supposed to put up big numbers and make a huge jump before coming over to North America. No, I'm not talking about Austin Matthews. I'm talking about Rodin Amirov. This young man who was supposed to crack the Leafs roster next year and is supposed to be a top six player, which we don't know. Obviously, he was putting up some good points before he got injured, but is now out with a broken collarbone. How are you going to deal with this information, Josh? Is your heart broken? How are you feeling about Rodin Amirov now on the shelf for probably 6 to 8 to 10 weeks?
I mean, NHL doesn't start for another month and a half, so I don't think it's going to be the end of the world. I don't think he was going to be a world breaker coming in. Uh,
Well, here's the fun thing. He wasn't even coming over to play with us this year.
yeah, like I don't think it's that big a deal for the Leafs. Like, yeah, sure, it sucks for his development. He's probably going to miss the start of the season over, and I think he's playing with like
Their season already
it's
started, so I think he was 6 or 8 games in.
yeah, Salavat, Ulava, or yeah, something like that. But
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to hurt his development too badly. It was just unfortunate. I mean, the injury looked horrible as it is. He went headfirst into the boards. I thought he hurt his neck or something, but it seems like he got away pretty lucky for what could have been, and hopefully he gets healed pretty quickly. I mean, but this guy, he's got a shot. I'm sure we've all seen his training videos. This guy can rip the puck right under the bar where he wants to. He's going to be good at deceiving goalies from what we've seen of him. He knows what he's doing out there. But it's going to be interesting to see how he comes back from this injury, because different players come back differently from different types of injuries. So hopefully it doesn't affect the way he plays.
No, definitely. I mean, we make light of the situation that, it is August and everyone is freaking out about a player who's really developing into more of a well-rounded guy with the team he's going to play with for the next season. It just shows you how slow the newsreel is. But then the real injury news breaks. And this one here, I would say it pissed me off. I listened to a couple people talk about this, and I kind of sided with one of them on the fact that I feel like it was more we before the team. I know it's your off season, and we all have seen what Austin Matthews has done. He's been in the public eye a lot this off season, hanging out with Justin Bieber, going to UFCs, doing a lot of different things, partying up, having a good time, like a young man should. But here's the thing: you wait until the absolute drop dead moment to get that surgery done. I know he's only going to miss a week at camp, and it's Austin freaking Matthews. He knows what he's going to do for the season and how to come back. I don't like the selfishness of it. I don't.
So
Hang on one second. It again, to me, portrays the fact of what everybody's been saying about these guys, where it's me before we with these guys. And that's the notion we got from these guys a lot. And you hear the little whispers in the locker room. It's me before we, and we'll get into the Nick Foligno comments in a little while. But I'm wondering to you, I mean, you look at this, and he waits until the last minute. Now he's going to be going into camp, not being able to participate in the conditioning drills and all those different things. And I know he'll get up to speed rather quickly, which is fine. But I don't like the optics of it. Get the surgery done when the season's done. He would have already been healed, still been able to do everything he wanted to do. I mean, to me, I don't understand. You went through all of the therapy and stuff like that, I guess, to bring it along naturally. When you yourself, he said it during the season, he'll have to get it taken care of in the offseason. So he already in his mind knew this was coming. I don't know why you wait this long. That's what pisses me off. I really think it's a selfish thing. And I know it's their offseason. They can do what the hell they want. But it really, really rubbed the salt in the me before we thing that I've been talking about.
Right. So I was on the same boat you were. I mean, I'm never going to tell a player how to take care of their own body, but when this news broke, I was kind of like, that's really odd timing considering training camp is, 5-6 weeks away. And then I saw, the Leafs put out some stuff. I read some stuff on The Athletic, and it sounds like he got this surgery because he had amped up his training. He had been skating for 2 to 3 weeks, and when he amped it up to take it into more intense gameplay situation, battles along the boards, harder shots, increasing the amount of reps he was doing, that's when he started to feel the discomfort in his wrist again. And so he went back to, his doctors, the Leafs doctors, and they said, yeah, you should get this surgery now, instead of trying to deal with it into the off season, into the regular season. So I understand that. But on the other hand, was it this bad when the season ended? Could you have done it at the start of the summer? Sure. He might have been told something else, though. We don't know that. He could have been told, it's something that needs rest, and you're not playing hockey for 2 months. Obviously you're skating and training, but you're not playing NHL caliber hockey for 2 months. It'll heal your wrist. So I'm not going to hold it against him too much, because I understand that once you do amp up your training, I've seen it firsthand, injuries can come up, you need to get it taken care of. So, and you know what, he's not going to miss any regular season time. So at the end of the day, that's where you need him. I don't care if he's playing against, the Senators on a Tuesday night in the preseason.
No, listen, like I just said, I don't think that he's going to miss a beat after training camp and actually getting on the ice and doing what he needs to do. But we listened to him throughout last season that obviously rest made it feel better. And then he came back and played. It persisted. And his exact words were, this is something I'm going to need to get taken care of down the road.
Yeah.
But not right now. So in my mind, they've already talked about the surgery. And I don't know. But those words that he said that I'm going to have to get it taken care of, that to me means surgery. That to me means getting it fixed. However you're fixing it, it has to be done. I don't know. I just don't like the optics of it, especially after coming off of last season. And maybe we're still all just a little salty about these guys. I'm not begrudging the fact that he enjoyed his summer. I said that right off the hop.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, enjoy your summer, do whatever the hell you want. But like when you say getting taken care of, my shoulder's been dislocated 7-8 times. I still get pain in it. And when it starts to hurt again, like people notice this, like, oh, your shot's a little weaker or something. Yeah, it's my shoulder. I got to go get it taken care of. And that for me is going back to physio for 2-3 weeks just to strengthen it back up, or taping it up. He could have been doing intensive physiotherapy for a month. We wouldn't know it. He's not going to post on Instagram like, hey guys, at physio today. Like we don't know what he's, I know. So, and players have, and I prefer this. Players have started to take the physio approach before surgery. We saw it with the McDavid injury, where he pretty much rehabbed a torn PCL, and he came back stronger, faster, better than ever. So Matthews might have been told by doctors, look, there is a chance you can do this with physiotherapy. And then when it didn't work, he felt discomfort, and now he has to get the surgery. I mean, also, he scored 47 goals on a bum wrist, so can't take that away from the guy.
No, and hey, listen, I'm not taking anything away from him. I'm just saying it just seems suspect, and I mean we're all salty. And then you add this beautiful documentary that's coming out for the Maple Leafs, and how they dropped that with the, and we still lost. That just re-amplified everybody's pissed off feelings. We're not even going to get into that, guys. Drops October 1st. Hope you watch it. I'm going to watch it, but right now I don't want to talk about it.
I'm gonna hate watch it.
Yeah, you're gonna hate watch it. Unless you know what, maybe they win you over to get you back into the season. Who knows? But you look at this Toronto Maple Leaf team, and I talk about the Austin Matthews thing at the last second because it looks like this team is still looking for off-ice mentors. And there was an interview done with Nick Foligno asking him, why he chose Boston. Not Columbus and not the Wild and not other teams. We'll focus on the Maple Leafs. And really what he said was it came down to the fact that Kyle Dubas had the vision for him to be more of an off-ice influence than an on-ice influence. And his contribution wasn't going to be as big as Nick Foligno wanted to be for the Maple Leafs. They really wanted him to carve out that niche of being the, father-like presence around these guys and be that grizzled vet to show them what to do day to day. And he didn't want to do that. He wanted to be able to be a focal point for this team, to be, a big person within that lineup, not just in the locker room or off the ice. And that was something that swayed him away from, being with the Maple Leafs. And that to me says, I think some of these veterans are tired of being babysitters or being brought in to be babysitters, and it started with Marleau and Hainsey. And then you keep moving forward, and then it was Joe Thornton and, Jason Spezza and all these guys, right? There's guys that stayed, but I think some guys don't want that role. They want to have their identity as their identity, not as the guys that take care of Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, and et cetera, and be their, but lack of better terms, father figure on the team, right? And hearing that from Nick Foligno, that he didn't want to be that, didn't like that was what was going to be offered to him, and he went somewhere else. And obviously we got some guys that we think can fill that void of Nick Foligno and Zach Hyman to an extent, because of that, because the contract obviously Nick Foligno signed with the Boston Bruins. But I want to know from you, what do you think? Is that problematic that Kyle Dubas is really shopping, being an off-ice mentor and babysitter, so to speak, to those guys, to free agents or guys you're trying to bring back that are veterans?
I think this was blown way out of proportion, and people who read it took the quote the wrong way, saying that you'd be an off-ice mentor was like, oh, you're not going to play any games. Like, no, the dude was still obviously going to play games, but also Nick Foligno wanting to be, one of the guy, like the guy on the Leafs, it sounded like that's not you, buddy. In 2019, 2020, you played 67 games at 31 points. And then you followed that up with a 49 game season last year, split between the Leafs and the Blue Jackets, where you had 20 points. And you were injured when we needed you the most. So you're 33, you're on a $3.8 million cap hit. That's a lot of money to pay for somebody in an off-ice role. It just wasn't a fit. I don't think it's either party's fault. As Lou Lamoriello once said, it's an unfortunate set of circumstances. It's nobody's fault, but it's going to be one of those things that gets blown out of proportion if the Leafs fail again. And, they quote, lack of leadership in the locker room or whatever. But you know what? The leadership's there. Morgan Riley's your leader. Jack Campbell, he can be a leader. You have TJ Brody's a leader. Jake Muzzin's a leader, right? Matthews at this point is a leader. John Tavares is still there. You don't need any more leaders in that dressing room. I'm sure we all know the saying, too many cooks in the kitchen. You don't want too many voices in the change room. You want, someone to look to, someone who shows you how to be a pro day to day. And the definition of pro is John Tavares. So as long as you have him in there and he's wearing the C on the jersey and showing the guys how to play, you don't need Nick Foligno on your team. His run with the Leafs was underwhelming. And I think if he came back, it would have been somewhat of the same. Maybe slightly improved performance. So you know what, say what you want, go over to the dark side and go play with Taylor Hall and your buddies over there. So enjoy it in Boston, Nick.
Yeah, no, like I said, for me, I agree with you with too many cooks in the kitchen. I just don't know. I want veterans to come here. I want guys that want to chase the cup. I want them to come here, but I don't want them to come here under the premise of that, and yeah, that's the thing that you look at the direct thing was it came down to the fact that Toronto Maple Leafs likely wanted Foligno to be more of a role player without expected to contribute a lot, which you just touched on. He probably does want to contribute, even though he probably can't contribute to the level he used to. He probably still wants to be able to be thought of as a guy who will contribute, on the ice and do things. Same thing with Jason Spezza. Everybody, wrote him to be just a fourth line guy that'll chip in some points and be a good name, a good veteran on this team. He chipped in a lot of points and actually did really well in the playoffs. So, these guys want to be able to be, counted on. And it just, from what it sounds like, that wasn't coming from Toronto. And obviously, like you said, he's going to go over the dark side. And, Boston has more of a role and responsibility for him. Well, good luck. Obviously, I said it last week when we had Terry Koshan on. The guy is slower than Nick Ritchie. The guy is, obviously aging. And his back was his biggest problem, which I don't know about you, but when your back starts to go, you don't get control when it goes.
No.
It's going to be a problem a lot for him, I think, next season. And Bruins fans are going to be the ones stuck with that,
Yeah. I mean, his back probably hurts from carrying Columbus all those years, but I mean,
shots fired.
But yeah, also, I think this is blown way out of proportion. If this happened in Florida, nobody's talking about it. So enjoy your summers, guys. Just saying.
Hey, speaking of Florida and speaking of veteran Maple Leaf players, Florida went out and got Mr. Jumbo Joe and brought him along for the ride. I mean, I understand wanting to have a player like that in your lineup because Jumbo Joe brings it. I said this last year to you, and I said this to everybody with Jumbo Joe. I really think they need to limit his games, and especially down the stretch. I think you need to give that guy a rest. And a lot of people, even David Alter, told us, you got to let him play. He'll tell you if he needs to come out of the lineup. Well, I think you have to protect somebody from themselves some points and, know better than they know because he's an athlete. Of course, he's going to want to play.
Yeah.
But you got to press pause and let him rejuvenate because we all seen him slow down. And he wasn't able to do what he was able to do in the first 15 games for the last remaining games. He wasn't able to be that person. and the juice wasn't there in the playoffs either. The bite, the growl, just wasn't there. I mean, if they reeled him back a bit, which I hope Florida does, but they didn't pay him league min either. You know, they paid him a pretty decent amount of money for a guy that's going to be probably on your third or fourth line, unless they do what Toronto did and try to get the most out of him on the top line. But hey, I'm happy for Jumbo. It's down in Florida. You know, that's where, you know, normal people from Toronto go to retire and, you know, soak up the sun. So he went the right route. He's now a snowbird. Let him live down there and do his thing.
He is on league min.
He's on league min?
Yeah,
I
750.
thought it was more than that. I thought it was
No.
1.9.
Nope, 750.
Okay, well there you go. Sorry, Joe. You took league min and went down to Florida, so you
I don't
retired with
hate
a small
that.
package.
Like, I don't hate that for them, though.
I don't
Like,
hate that, but I mean, you gotta. It's the same thing with here in Toronto. I really do feel the lure of the name Joe Thornton kept him in the lineup more than it should have. You know,
Yeah,
I
he had
think
his
that he
moments,
didn't take
but-
him out. Well, no, I just think that you should have limited his minutes. I had no
Yeah.
problem with Joe Thornton, but I really think when he started to slow down, that, you know, the brass should have said, okay, we're going to put you on ice for a few games, or we're going to let you, you know,
Yeah.
rejuve a little, you know, have a little fun, you know, take your foot off the gas. I know you're an athlete, but you need to come back up to speed, you know?
Yeah.
And also, something we don't factor in for Joe Thornton, he was playing hockey before all of these guys were last year.
Mm-hmm.
He was on the ice in Sweden playing. So he was already playing meaningful hockey games over there and then came over here. So we'll see what happens this year. But, you know, happy trails of Jumbo Joe. Glad a team picked him up. I don't think that Florida is going to go as far as people think they're going to go, especially with the goaltending combination of Bobrovsky and Spencer Knight. Knight will probably have some good moments, but I really think that Chris Drieger was somebody that helped that team along.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what happens in the net provision. But we also know for Bobrovsky, he's a year on, year off kind of guy. So maybe next year is his year on.
I'm just looking at Jumbo Joe's stats here, and in his final year of AAA for the Elgin Middlesex Chiefs, I guess, Bantam AAA, he played 67 games. He had 83 goals, 85 assists for 168 points.
Oh, that's it. That's it.
168 points in 67 games in your final AAA year. So that's pretty good.
Not too bad. I mean, same thing happened the year that he got traded from Boston to San Jose. You know,
Yep.
he went on and to win some hardware as well. So Joe knows what to do. I mean, again, like I said, I don't begrudge his time in Toronto. I just begrudge the fact that, you know, Sheldon Keefe and co didn't see the fact they need to put him on ice for a little bit and let him rest up. We could have got some guy with bite. But speaking of the on ice product for the Toronto Maple Leafs, something not a lot of people are talking about is the goaltending situation with Toronto beyond Petr Mrazek and Jack Campbell. We know they are tabbed to be the duo, the combo, the splitters, whatever you want to call them for next season. But beyond that, what do the Leafs have? And you can say, well, they have Michael Hutchinson, but we all know how hot and cold he is. Yes, he had a great little run with the Colorado Avalanche, but what does he usually bring for the Toronto Maple Leafs? It's not a whole lot of warm and fuzzies for Leaf fans, and you can agree with that or disagree. But beyond him, where do you go? You know, if you don't want to put Hutchinson in, which the Leafs, by the way, did not want to do last year, as they went out and got David Rittich. So do you put in Joseph Woll, who really hasn't shown very much? Do you put in Ian Scott, who really hasn't played a hockey game in the past couple of years because of hip surgery? I see Scott starting in the ECHL. I see Joseph Woll battling with the name that I'm about to say, which is Colligren, a guy that was drafted by the Arizona Coyotes in 2015 and really impressed the Leafs brass by doing what he's been doing the past couple of years. And listen to this. This is pretty beautiful. He put up a .930 save percentage in 10 games on his way to the SHL championship with Vac Show. And he made some pretty big stops. And that's from Nick Richard on the old Twitter sphere. But this guy here,
that season too, he had a 2.37 goals against at a .911 save percentage. So pretty good. That was in 21 games in the regular season. I guess he got majority of the starts in the playoffs.
Yep, and he did. And he won he's also teammates with the MVP of that team, which is fellow Leafs prospect Pontus Holmberg. Mm-hmm. But this guy here, looks like has an opportunity because the Leafs goaltending situation is not strong. We've drafted a couple of guys over the past couple of years, but it's not a position of strength as of yet. There's guys that are coming along, but I think this guy here has the fast track to at least battle in camp for the starting job for the Marlies, or at least split the starts with Joseph Woll. And I think it'll be him and Woll, and I think it'll come down between Hutchinson and this guy here to come up and fill in when Mrazek's hurt or Campbell's hurt, which we know is going to happen. Goalies get hurt. Or you maybe want to put a goaltender in because somebody's playing too much or whatever the ball is rolling on. But this guy here has a serious chance. And I want to know for you, you look down the Leafs goaltending chart. Do you see anybody above him, obviously Mrazek and Campbell, but beyond those two that is going to usurp this guy if he comes in and has a stellar camp, which is what the Leafs are betting on?
Yeah, this year, no. But I think for this goaltending setup the Leafs have, you're looking 2-3 years from now. I think a guy like Ian Scott, once he gets back on the ice and is feeling good, he had a pretty substantial hip surgery, I believe. And he, since the end of 2019, he's only played 6 games, which isn't a lot. It's barely anything, to be honest. So it's going to be interesting to see how he rebounds after that surgery. But in his last year of junior with the Prince Albert Raiders, he played 49 games and had a 9.32 save percentage, which was just absolutely phenomenal. Then in 2021, he did play 1 AHL game. I think he let in 4 goals, and he played five ECHL games, I believe, where he also had a similar goals against. But I'm not going to hold that against him too much just because he is coming off a surgery and he's playing at a higher level than he's used to. I think once he starts to see more pucks in the minors, he will kind of catch up. Then I look at a guy like Joseph Woll. He has some AHL experience. He also played on the Prince Albert Raiders. One sec here. Oh, my computer froze. Am I still there?
You're still here, buddy.
Still here. Okay, we're good. Yeah, so Joseph Woll, he's a solid prospect. Sorry, my screen froze here. So Boston College, he played there. He had 30 games, 915 save percentage. The next season, 37 games, 919 save percentage. And then with the Marlies in his most recent season, the one that just passed, he played 15 games and put up an 892, which isn't awful for a goaltender in his second year in the AHL. You see similar numbers to guys like that. Maybe Wall's the answer. Could be Ian Scott. Could be the guy you were talking about. But we'll see. I like the idea of Eric Hallgren. I think he's going to be a prospect for the Leafs. I don't think he'll ever be a starter, but a backup, it's a possibility.
Well, I mean, but that's what we're looking for here, right? I'm not anointing him to be a starter for the Toronto Maple Leafs, which everybody, just so you know, let's put the new panic into the world. Jack Campbell needs a contract after this season. Just putting that out there. And if he goes out and has a season like he did last year, the man's going to want to get paid. So we'll see where that goes. But I'm just saying this season here, you look at the depth in the organization, they were not happy with what Hutchinson brought last year. Nobody could tell you that they were because they went out and got David Rittich. That's how scared they were of having to put that guy in. Should say scared, but not confident in his game.
Scared is the word.
I'm not trying to bash him too much. He might want to come on sometime. You never know. But
I got some questions for him.
But you look at this stuff, right? And you see them go and get David Rittich. So now you see this guy get signed, and you're like, okay, what's the deal here? Why? Then you do some digging. Numbers are good. He's progressed the right way. He's every season he's gotten better, which is what you want to see. Every step up in competition, he's gotten better as well. So hopefully this year in the AHL, when he comes in for training camp, and he maybe wins the split job or whatever with the Marlies, we see good numbers. And that's all you can ask for.
Yeah.
That's all you want to see out of a prospect or somebody you're trying to bring along is good numbers and solid performance, and then we'll go from there. But I do think that he has the fast track to coming in behind Mrazek or Campbell if one of them get hurt. I don't know if he ever gets into a game, but he might ride the bench at the NHL level. We'll see.
Oh, but none of these guys can be the Leafs' third goalie this year. The Leafs do need to sign a couple more goaltenders because you got to fill out your ECHL team too. And they, unlike other NHL teams, the Leafs do use their ECHL team as a developmental tool. They don't just throw guys down there; they
Yep.
put guys in there to develop. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see, like, I would not be shocked if Ian Scott's down in the ECHL just to get back into the swing of it.
Ian Scott he's starting in the ECHL this year.
Yeah, so there you go. So that now you need another goalie, because usually on your AHL team you got 3 goalies signed because you have triple headers. So.
Well, I know that they have Joseph Wool, they have Colgren now, and there's another guy that I don't remember his name. He signed as well.
I have their roster up, and they don't have anybody officially signed, so it might be an AHL deal. But
yeah,
for the,
well,
for the Leaf step chart.
But
nothing.
Anyways, we'll look at that when it shakes out. We'll see who it is in camp, because obviously they'll be there and on the list, which will be. Curtis Gabriel said what August 20 or September 22nd is when camp's going to be. So a week before that, we'll probably have the camp roster, who's coming and who's invited.
This is prime August hockey talk for you.
Hey man, this is what you got to do. You got to pay the bills. You got to have some fun, right? Make sure people remember the name when the season does start. Another funny thing that did go down today. This is the power of podcasting. I believe it's the Blue Shirt Breakaways podcast. Celebrated, I think it's their 300th episode, by purchasing a billboard in Buffalo.
This was fantastic.
So, and it was, aren't trade requests a pain in the neck? Hashtag free Jack Eichel.
Yeah.
Obviously, we know that the New York Rangers fans probably really want this guy on their squad. A lot of things seem to point to either them or Vegas being the teams to pick him up. There was rumblings about the Kraken, but I don't think that's going to get Kraken anytime soon. Pun intended. But you look at the New York Rangers, and I say, well done, fans, well done.
Yeah,
because it goes back to like when the Ottawa Senators fans bought the billboards in Ottawa to get Melnyk out.
Yeah,
I love those kind of things. I love fan movement. It goes like the same thing with Artemi Panarin. I believe it's the vodka company in Columbus offered him free vodka for life if he stayed in ZBJ. So. The power of media, no matter if it's on social media or traditional billboard media, I think that's hilarious. Just wanted to point that one out because this thing needs to come to a head. Everybody wants to know what's going to happen with Jack Eichel. And we talked about it last week. You don't want a cloud hanging over the organization. And now you've got other organizations, fans clowning you within your own city.
Yeah.
So, you got to get something done, get that ball moving, get that thing settled and dealt with before the season starts. Hey, you guys are chasing after Shane Wright. Just get into that mode and get going.
100%. That billboard was great, though. That gave me a laugh.
Oh, yeah. Well, again, prime August hockey talk right there. But absolutely what needs to be talked about. So, take a look at this. Go check out Ryan Mead on Twitter. If you want to see the picture, I'll make sure to post a link to it. Obviously, a lot of things getting settled up with some ARB, talk going on. Kevin Fiala signs his deal. I think there's only 2 left. I think it's Sanheim and someone else left to do their arbitration deals. But Fiala got a 1-year, $5.1 million deal out of the Minnesota Wild. So, enjoy your money, sir. And UC Saros finally signed a deal. So I know Max Ritzy, friend of the podcast, doing the Squadcast tonight. They got Ross Striplin on. Pretty cool. He's a huge Predators fan, does some writing for them. So Cesaro signed, absolutely kick ass. But let's keep her moving right along. For you wanted to talk about the women's worlds tonight, and we're definitely going to dive into that here in just a second. But we wanted to do a shout out to the Gatineau Olympique and bringing in this young lady here. She's a top U18 women's goalie. She gets an invite to the camp. Absolutely cool. Yves Gascon, I believe that's how you say it, Gascon, is going to be going to the Gatineau Olympics camp. Absolutely cool. Comes off the heels of that young lady, Curry, getting drafted by, I believe it was a Sarnia Sting.
Yep.
You definitely want to see this, and I want to see more of this. Having 2 daughters, I always want them to feel that there is nothing in the world that can stop them from attaining anything they want to do. Mm-hmm. And this just shows that we're progressing in the way that, hey, maybe this is the way to go. Obviously, if you can play top level, you should be playing top level.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
You know, now will there always be things that I personally I think should be divided? I don't think that when you see the UFC, I don't think you should see a guy versus a
No.
girl. I don't think that that works out well, and I'm not saying that to be sexist, rude, or anything like that. Not putting that out there like that, but just the way that it goes. You tell me you want to see, you know, Ronda Rousey versus what? Jose
Brock
Aldo,
Lesnar.
Connor. Well, no, Ronda Rousey, same weight class as Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
You know, would you want to see that fight? No, I wouldn't. And, you know, is there always a chance that things can happen? Yes, but I believe that, you know, basketball, baseball, hockey, traditional sports, I think that if you're good enough to be at that level, you should be good enough to play at that level. There should be no barriers in your way.
I think we are really close, and by really close, I mean 5 to 10 years, to seeing a women's hockey player in the NHL.
You know what? That'd be perfect. Why? Why not? You know,
Yeah.
you know, and the other thing too is, and huge proponent of the women's hockey leagues that are out there. You got the Dream Gap Tour going on. You also have the NWHL that's just building momentum as well.
Mhm.
You know, we've had plenty of people come through offside from the NWHL. Shout out to Soraya Tinker. Shout out to Tori Sullivan, Boston Pride Cup champ right there. But you know, you look at this and you say, you know, why not? Some of these girls put in just as much time, just as much effort, and the pay and the balance isn't there. So to see this from the Gatineau Olympique, cool. The Sarnia Sting drafting that young goaltender, you know, and that's what we should be saying, young goaltender, you know, to join their organization, absolutely kick ass. And I think if you put in the work and you're good enough, you should be in those leagues, hands down, no problem.
Yeah.
And that leads us into this. I mean, we have the Women's World Championships that should be here in Halifax. Sadly, it's not. But I know Calgary will do a, you know, bang up job doing this. What are you looking forward to most, Josh, about the Women's World Championships? Can't wait to see it kick off. Can't wait to see Team Canada versus Team USA. That's one matchup. Sweden and Finland. Can't wait to see that. I almost called it Swinland. Yeah, yeah, trust me, it's that whole not sleeping thing again. But what are you looking forward to most out of this? And for you, is there someone you have pegged that you're seeing that might be a breakout player that's going to put themselves on that, you know, next level echelon as a player that, whether it's for the US, Sweden, Finland, Canada, that's going to be that next level person that you want to follow along and see what's going on?
Well, I think the main story here is because we're both based in Canada. Canada hasn't won gold here for 9 years. It's one of those stats you look at. It's like, wow, really? Because we have all these Olympic golds, but we just can't seem to get it done at the World Championships. The roster is looking really, really good, but it's going to take a collective performance, especially against a USA team that just looks phenomenal again. Even Finland looks top notch. Sweden's bringing their best players. Finland took USA to overtime a couple of years ago, and that was a controversial finish where Finland did score in overtime at home, and the referee reversed the decision. I could go on about that for hours, how they should have just let it stand. But
Yep.
Canada's got some good players coming in. We got the key players. Obviously, we have Marie-Philippe Poulin. She's coming off of surgery. And she was phenomenal on the PWHPA's Dream Gap Tour.
Yep.
Especially in Calgary. She lit things up there. Erin Ambrose, she's phenomenal on the defensive side of things. We have so many up and coming players on the blue line too, but she's just somebody back there who's going to hold that blue line down. And it was in question if she was going to make this team because she was cut in 2017, but she's improved a ton since then. So I think she's going to be a staple on that blue line. And then looking at the young side, we have Filler. She's coming in from the NCAA. She still has 2 years left of her eligibility. She won the ECAC Player of the Year, and she's been on this team for a couple of years now. So she's not quite a rookie, but she still falls under that definition of rookie. Every shift she's on there, dominating in tight areas. She's just bringing it out. And she's been playing with Poulin, so obviously they think very highly of her. Yep. I just think this Canadian team is going to do I wouldn't necessarily do some damage because I still think USA is the better team just with the players they are bringing. I'll get to them in a second, but they're going to give some teams some scares. Like obviously, I think they're going to beat Finland. They're going to beat Sweden. They're going to beat these other teams at the tournament. USA, are they better than USA? No. Are they better than USA if they play their best? Yes, probably. But we'll see what happens here. Just looking at the US team, they have obviously Alex Carpenter's coming back. Kendall Quinn is going to be on the team again. Brianna Decker's there. Amanda Kessel, Hillary Light. Like, this team's just loaded. Kayla Barnes, Megan Keller, and then in net, obviously, Alex Cavini, Nicole Hensky, and Erin Frankel. Those are just three of the best women's goaltenders in the world right there. And they're bringing them all. So that this USA team is going to be really, really hard to beat. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm also looking forward to seeing some of these other teams play. Because there's some teams at this tournament that we haven't seen play hockey in a while. Like the field here, we're going 10 teams, USA, Canada, Finland. Those are your top three powerhouses in women's hockey. But then you get into Russia, Switzerland, Japan, Czech, Germany, Denmark, and Hungary. So it's going to be interesting to see how these teams stack up. And then the format of the tournament is, I'm reading this directly off the Ice Garden because I could not figure out this format for the life of me in my own words. So this is courtesy of the icegarden.com. The 10 teams are split into two groups, Group A and B. Group A includes USA, Finland, Canada, and Russia, and then also Switzerland. And then Group B is everybody else. That's Japan, Czech Republic, Germany, Denmark, and Hungary. Group play is round robin, where each country faces the other team in its respective pool. After that, all 5 countries in Group A and the top 3 countries in Group B will advance to the quarterfinals with seeding based on group play results. The quarterfinal winners advance to the semis, with the others moving to knockout placement games, with the winner claiming first place and moving up to Group A for the next Women's World. So it's a little bit of a different format where teams, the lower ranked teams are in Group B, but they are 3 of them are guaranteed a quarterfinal berth, while they put the top 5 teams in Group A, and all of them are guaranteed a quarterfinal berth. So I kind of like that we will see some different teams in the quarterfinal and some fresh matchups instead of just your typical Canada, USA, Canada, Sweden, Sweden, USA, Canada, Finland, right? We're going to be seeing Canada, Hungary, possibly, USA, Japan. So it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be a fantastic tournament, fantastic hockey, all the games on TSN. I'm really excited for it. August hockey isn't so bad.
No, August hockey, this will get everybody talking and whet the appetite for everything else. But this here for me has always been a table setter event for the Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
And, the thing that I'm worried about for Canada, and correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the way that I feel goaltending is not our strongest point here. I don't think that this is the best goaltending field Canada's had. I believe it was Zapados was one of the best goaltenders we had for a long while, if I'm not wrong. I think it's Shannon Zapados, but you have to believe in what you have, and Team Canada always believes in the fact that we do all the right things, we prepare the right way. You look at some of the players on there. You talk about Murray Fleet Poulin, but you talk Natalie Spooner. A lot of these different players that are starting to make a name for themselves through the Dream Gap Tour, right? And going out and those and Sarah Nurse.
Nurse, making noise. Kristen O'Neill. So there's some players on this team for sure.
They're not as house name as a Kendall Cole Schofield or Kessel or Knight or those kind of players. But I liken the fact that these players here in Canada, they are starting to build their brand and build their name, and that is only going to help Team Canada, because once you start establishing those name players, it helps for teams trying to focus in game plan, and allows Team Canada to do what they've done so well throughout the Olympics, which is win throughout the lineup. They don't rely just on 1 or 2 or 3 players, like most NHL teams do, or most teams that have star power. So I mean, we named off all the good players on the US. That's who you have to game plan around. But for Team Canada, it's always been a group mentality, is what I'm trying to say. And I think that going into this tournament, that will be the same thing again. And I'm really looking for, Jill Saunier and those kind of players to step up and take the next level role. I'm with you in the fact that I like the fresh matchups and things like that are going to shake out. But at the end of the day, we pretty much, and it's sad to say it this way, know what 4 teams are going to be in the finals.
Yes, but what 4 teams are going to be in there. But we saw, I think it was 2018, where we had USA Finland in the final, and Finland won that game. It was just reversed by a poor review, right? So I believe it was 2018. Block me on Twitter if I'm wrong. I don't, go ahead. But they should have upheld that decision. That would have been fantastic for women's hockey. Like, holy shit, Finland beat the number 1. The next step, right? And now I don't want to say you put hockey back by having USA win that tournament, but you probably, it's a better story if Finland wins it. And,
Yeah.
should there have been a little bit of, bias in making that decision? Sure, maybe. Like USA was going to win another title, but when is Finland going to win another title on home ice in overtime again? Probably never. So.
No, I agree with you. And yeah, that was debated so badly by everyone. I think it would have been the perfect ending. Just leave it alone.
Yeah.
Leave it alone. Would the US have cried? Yes. But big whoop-de-doo.
Yeah.
They win every other time. So here, let them have that.
They'll
But
get over it.
you know what? I can't wait for this to get started. It gets started this weekend, actually.
Yeah.
So can't wait to see this all kick off. If you're a betting man, Josh, I got to ask you, is Team Canada going to finally break that gold medal or gold breakdown where they haven't been able to pick one up?
I think they will this year. I think Canada is the team that you put your money on. This team seems to be a collective unit as instead of not instead of a bunch of individuals. I said that wrong. They seem to be more cohesive than they have been in the past years. The Olympics are next year. Unlike the NHL, we know that these ladies are going. This is their get ready for it, because it sounds silly, but the Olympic medal means a whole lot more than the World Championship. This is your get ready tournament. So they're going to want to show these other teams, this is what you're dealing with when we show up. This is what we look like. Don't underestimate us. Sure, we haven't won gold for here in 9 years, but this is what we are going to be bringing to the Olympics. Game plan for this, because we're coming in, we're taking your gold, and we're going home with it.
Listen, I can see,
like John Cena said, I'm taking your gold, I'm running to the crowd, I'm hopping the barricade, and I might even blow you a kiss.
Listen, we will talk about that in just a moment. We definitely will. We'll get into a little bit of a wrestling chit chat here at the end of this, but I really do see Team Canada picking this up. I see the victory happening for them, and I want it to happen for so many reasons, just because of the fact the canceled tournament here in Halifax, everything getting postponed. I know it happened to everyone in this tournament, but I really want them to win this on home ice and to take it and just run with that ball and enjoy it. But we'll see. This is I don't know, pandemic year, everything's screwed up. We come out of this, maybe Japan wins and wins gold and sets the world on its head.
Which, you know what? Excuse my language. That would be fucking awesome.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So tune in this weekend. Starts this weekend. Get excited. Get pumped. Get behind Team Canada and the girls. But hey, this Friday night in Chicago.
Chi-town.
Listen, I will tell you right now, anybody who knows me knows I love a good wrestling reference. I love a good promo. I love watching things, and everything seems to be coming together. You just referenced John Cena using the good old CM Punk blowing a kiss in 2014 when he took the title in Van Moost. I got to ask you the question.
Yeah. I love some wrestling, so let's go.
AEW is bringing the noise. They're rejuvenating the wrestling rivalry as much as WWE doesn't think so. They are bringing new blood, new ideas, new ways of doing things. People are getting excited about wrestling again. I got to ask, on Friday night, Chicago, Illinois, in front of the big lights, big fans, everything that's going down, all the noise, all of the hoopla, CM Punk is playing into it. Do we see CM Punk debut, and do we see Daniel Bryan debut as well, or Bryan Danielson as he's known as, on AEW television? And here's the further point: will there be more surprises? Tony Khan himself said that this is going to be a spectacular night like no other in the wrestling business. This is going to shift things. So you shift things by bringing in CM Punk. You shift bringing in Daniel Bryan. But is there more? I feel there is more.
Yeah. So we have a wrestling podcast over at Orion Sportscast called Orion's Belt. Check it out if you want to. If not, then don't check it out. It won't hurt my feelings. But we've been talking about this for like a month now. It all started with the CM Punk mummerings. Honestly, it's a lock that he debuts at Rampage on Friday. Would it have been cool if they kept it a secret? Yeah, but now the hype's there. The pop's going to be really, really loud, especially in his hometown of Chicago. Like, it's going to be absolutely amazing. They've been teasing it with the best of the world promos. Daniel Bryan, I'm not so sure of. If he comes out, I think it would be at All Out in a post-match beatdown or something. I don't think they would have him on the same night as Punk, because you want Punk as your main draw. So, a Daniel Bryan, we haven't seen Punk in, 9+ years. Daniel Bryan, we saw wrestle earlier this year. So you kind of don't want him to be overshadowed by Punk. So you would probably see him come at All Out. And then there's another name floating around, because apparently a man known as Brock Lesnar has been referenced to be signed with a wrestling promotion who is not run by Vince McMahon. So, he's not going to Impact. He's not going to Ring of Honor. Could he go over to New Japan? He's been there before, maybe, but I doubt it. The only other North American major promotion is AEW. I thought he was debuting last week because the show's named freaking Rampage. Like, that's the perfect title for Brock Lesnar to debut on. Does he end back up in the WWE? Yeah, most likely they can give him the biggest paycheck. But, put that seed of doubt in your mind that Brock Lesnar is not necessarily a WWE superstar anymore. We could be seeing him do some very, very good matchups in AEW. So I'm really excited for this.
Another guy that kind of catches my attention and really can hold the heavyweight title. Doesn't have to talk a lot, just a very big, strong man. That's Braun Strowman. I don't know what his done, but he's another guy. No, listen, you do that, but you know what? With the proper booking, as we've seen with some companies.
Yeah, I think it was the booking. I kind of got sour of him near the end, but you know what? Booking makes a huge difference. It makes such a big difference. Like,
Bray Wyatt says hi.
Yeah, that's another name. I totally forgot about. That's another name where he could, pop up. It won't be for a while because he probably has a 90-day no compete. I think he's going back to the WWE.
I got to ask you that question. Okay, so I understand they sign these contracts with the 90-day don't compete. I think if the company lets you go, that non-compete should not be there. They let you go. You should be able to go work.
So, yeah, you could probably win that in court, but it would take longer than 90 days.
Oh, no, I know. But to me, in my mind, I think if they're letting you go, then you should be free to go. Now, if you've asked for your release, they have every right to say no 90 days.
Yeah.
But if they're releasing you and you have no, say in it, then you should be able to go look for work immediately.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
I think Bray Wyatt ends up back in the WWE. Part of me thinks it's a work.
For him, was money. There's too much money, and they're trying to save money.
Part of me thinks it's a work. I don't know why, but I think he's. I don't think he's actually released.
Well, we'll see. I mean, wouldn't that be a sweet one to show up? Once Daniel Bryan debuts. And then all of a sudden, maybe a month or two later, just some dark vignettes start happening. And, it's Bray Wyatt, in some sort of monster character coming after, the nightmare that chases Daniel Bryan. I chased you all over before and I'll chase you again.
That'd be awesome. That'd be so good. But I also want to I've been a wrestling fan since I was 7. And nothing drew me in quite as much as the SmackDown run between 2007 and 2011, where Jeff Hardy had the title, Undertaker was feuding with Batista, CM Punk, Edge. Like, those were the days when Mark Henry came in and destroyed the Undertaker, and then Edge cashed in. Like, I think that's the first time I swore in front of my parents, so that will be etched in my brain forever. And that interest for me was super high. Like, every Friday night I was in front of the TV to watch SmackDown. Every Tuesday morning I was up an hour before I was supposed to be so I could watch Raw, because Raw back then was 9 to 11. I was young. I had to be in bed. But my interest it's not quite as peaked right now, but it is for this week, because obviously we got Rampage, we got Raw tonight, which I haven't even seen what's going on, so I'll watch that after this. Raw's been decent. SmackDown was phenomenal last week. I know you said it was only carried by the one segment, but I thought the whole delivery of the show was pretty good. Wasn't the best, but it was good. Dynamite's always amazing. NXT needs to step it up a little bit, but we also got a takeover event this weekend, and we got SummerSlam, and we're building the wall out. So wrestling's in a pretty good place right now. Hopefully all these companies can deliver, and it just goes to show competition is good. AEW is trying to one up WWE. WWE is trying to one up AEW. So keep fighting it out, because we're benefiting from it.
That's the best. You know what? You need competition. When you have no competition, you run the monopoly. And you can basically do what you want, which is a watered down product, which WWE had. Every time WWE's had somebody to feud with, whether it was WCW, the small spat with ECW. They never messed with TNA because TNA was never nothing.
It's an
They were, but I look at it right now, and this is, I can't wait for Friday. I can't wait to see what they're going to do with the Roman Reigns, John Cena promos. I love that stuff.
Oh, so good.
It reminds me of The Rock and John Cena back in the day when they're going after each other, and just a real life feuding and bickering. I love the on the mic stuff that CM Punk can do. I love the mic drops or pipe bombs and all that he was doing, when he was with the Nexus and then basically almost on his way out and just carving everybody. Love that stuff. And that's what I can't wait to see in AEW. It's going to happen this Friday, guys. I know you tune in for hockey, but we are everything fans here. Now, we won't get to do this very much during the season, but again, it's August hockey. So we are going to talk about some things that are big news, which is obviously AEW's debuts, WWE's stepping it up. Cannot freaking wait till Friday to mark out like a 7-year-old child again when CM Punk's music hits.
Hey, I marked out this Friday when Christian won the title. So
yeah, I'll agree with you. I was in the same boat. I said to my wife, I said, Christian Cage.
It was actually pretty obviously I watched SmackDown before, and it was the first time I've watched SmackDown live in like 3 months. Just was able to because of my schedule, and my wife was sitting next to me, and she hates that I watch wrestling, but like she'll pay attention. Like I'll pay attention to Teen Mom too, so she'll watch the wrestling like on her phone. And Cena came out, and she knows the whole like Moxley Ambrose backstory, but not as much as I thought she did, because he goes, Cena goes, and you ran Dean Ambrose out of the WWE. And she kind of looked at me and goes, can he say that? I'm like, what? You know that? So that's how good that promo was.
Yeah, no, that was an amazing promo. And I love the fact that they were able to do that without scripts. Mm-hmm. Apparently neither of them seen each other behind, backstage before all that happened or anything like that. So there was no, anything. It was all right in that ring. And the Nikki Bella shot from Roman Reigns, you done missionary for 15 years.
And props to Reigns for, doing it, because they did that at No Mercy in 2017, a week before. And, Reigns totally lost himself. And all the people remember this. And Cena said, it's called a promo, kid. If you want to be the big dog, you got to get good at him. That's how bad his promo was. So all he could respond with was shut your mouth, John. It's like, okay, good one, Roman.
Yeah. No, he's gotten a lot better on the mic. And that was one knock against Roman Reigns. And maybe that's why Paul Heyman has been so attached to him, just to allow him to grow that aspect of his game. Because we all know Brock Lesnar is absolute shite on the mic. But with Paul Heyman, he's got all he needs. So I don't know. We'll see what happens this weekend. Big weekend in wrestling. Cannot wait to see it all unfold. Not a big weekend in the Maple Leaf land, but we do have the Women's World Hockey Championship. So check that out as well. Get your viewing times ready. Get your popcorn ready. This has been Offside Hockey Talk for this week. This is Offside Hockey Talk, where hockey comes to talk.